I love Japan. I love it so much. I wish that if I were born, I could be reincarnated and live there for the rest of my life. So this is my second time going to Japan, and I wanted to do everything I could. Or last time I had 2 days to do what I wanted to do, but this time I had a full week. So I had a lot of time, but I still somehow managed to stay busy the entire time that I was there. As a nerd, anyone who likes anime, video games, etc., superheroes, all that type of stuff, there is so much in Tokyo that it's baffling. Like, it is legitimately a paradise for people like me who love video games, who love anime, who love movies, all these characters, and anything you can think of. So I decided that not only am I going to do all of the things for the interests I have, but I want to make this video a guide for all the things you could do as a nerd, quote unquote, in Tokyo. And just know that there are still things that I didn't even get around to with a full week because of the limited budget. But let's get started. I want to talk about the things you can do. First, some general tips so you get an idea of how to get around Tokyo, what to do in case you need help. First, traveling around for navigation, use Google Maps. Google Maps has just about everything. It keeps pretty much most info pretty accurately. There was only one situation, or maybe two, where they had special trains that were going in a different manner, and so Google wasn't able to keep me informed of that. So just use Google Maps. I'd say that it's 99% accurate, and it really helps you get around Tokyo with all the subways and trains. Speaking of subways, there are 3 different subway lines owned by 3 different companies. It can be a confusing mess if you try to buy tickets for each one individually, having to transfer and use all of them. So I recommend buying a Passmo or Suica card at one of the ticket stations and just filling it up with as much money as you might need. These cards can be used at all 3 of the different stations. Use that and you'll be good to go pretty much. If you need to use the restroom, most convenience stores have them, and convenience stores are everywhere. And if you need to charge your phone while you're out and about, go to McDonald's. McDonald's is basically charger haven. People go there just to charge their phones and relax for a little while. My final tip, if you're staying for a little while, you can buy a SIM card at the airport for $40. It'll last you for a whole week, unlimited data and everything. So first, we're gonna look at Akihabara. So Akihabara is the tech paradise, as people like to call it. There are a billion electronic stores, a billion places to buy figurines, arcades. You can get just about anything imaginable here. There are so many different stores. When I first got here, after I revisited Cookie Time, I went straight to Akihabara and I got lost in the claw machines. Now, the claw machines in Japan are different from what you'll find in America in that it is actually possible to win majority of the time. In some cases, I find that it's just determination that will get you the prize. Because some of the ways that the machines are set up, you can make progress towards winning the prize. You just have to keep pushing forward, even if it costs you a little extra money. And these prizes, these figures that are in the machines most of the time, or these plushies, they aren't necessarily like exclusives. Like, you can buy them at a store somewhere. Like, I've seen a billion of the same figurines that are in some of the claw machines. It's just, do you want to risk getting it at a cheaper price or possibly spending more money? Or do you want to just buy it straight up at a set price? It's a gamble, but I mean, in some cases it's worth it. I managed to get 3 figures during my time there, and I even noticed some of the employees in the arcade will actually try to help you by giving you certain tips or advice about the machine or the way that the item you're trying to get is set up. And in some cases, the employee might even open the machine and move the item for you to help you get it. And in Japan, you can tell they want you to win. They want you to get the item. They don't want to cheat you out of your money. And I really appreciated that. Now, just because they won't cheat you out of your money, though, doesn't mean you can't cheat yourself. I regret that I might have spent a good portion of my budget on my first day in Akihabara. Now, would I say that all the money I spent on these prizes was worth it? Yeah, I think it was, absolutely. Now, there's also some special places in Akihabara you can visit. There is a place called the Retro Game Camp, and basically it is a library of all the oldest games you could possibly imagine. There were certain game consoles and certain games I had never even heard of, and I love video games. I listen to video game podcasts, videos all the time. Like anything talking about video games, I'm usually there. But like to see this library of old school classics and things from beyond what I thought would have been the oldest generation, it was something special. And we don't have anything like that in America. Nothing preserving these old classics and these old treasures that just you can't find anywhere else. Now, there are actually 2 Square Enix related cafes in Akihabara as well. You can go to the Square Enix cafe. I don't have much footage of that place since they don't allow you to take photos or video inside, but it is a cafe that is themed after certain Square Enix games. When I went there, it was themed after the more recent game, Dragon Quest Builders 2. And so they had a whole menu, a whole setup full of just Dragon Quest stuff. But in the cafe, they also have a store full of merchandise for Square Enix, Kingdom Hearts, Octopath Traveler, Final Fantasy, Dissidia, and The World Ends With You. Like it was amazing to actually find a place full of merchandise for all these franchises that I truly care about. In America, you just can't find stuff like that. So, in the other Square-related cafe, there is a Final Fantasy Urza? I don't know how to say it. It's a Final Fantasy 14 related cafe, and you have to get reservations for this place. But when you get in, they close the doors, they play some music, and they start a drawing for a lotto. And if you win, you get certain Final Fantasy 14 related prizes. The menu was really cool. You get to choose drinks based on certain classes, and the meals were really nice. I only had a chocobo pudding and a paladin drink. It was really not that bad. Just remember, you need a reservation, so make sure you make that before you go. And if you are a person who likes women dressed as maids, or cafes, or Asian women, you might enjoy going to a maid cafe. There are several maid cafes in Akihabara, and they're constantly advertised. You'll see maids out on the streets advertising these cafes, which are really nice. I went to one, and it was very small and contained. I was greeted by several maids, and one of them even gave me little bear ears and drew cute pictures of Pikachu for me. They call you master too, which is a bit of a weird feeling, but something you could get used to. Your experience might be different for me though. I didn't really enjoy myself too much because I wasn't really given the same attention that some of the older Japanese men in the same place were getting. And I mean, it could be just because they didn't have good English skills, or maybe they just, I don't know.
Well, maybe it's just because you're ugly.
Now, if you're also into ninjas and women dressed as ninjas in cafes, you might also enjoy the Shinobozu Cafe. It is a ninja cafe where the women are dressed as ninjas and they're very enthusiastic about it. Similar to a Maid cafe, but just different outfits and different theme going on. It was interesting. Just to note that you're not allowed to take pictures or take video in these places unless you pay money to take photos, in which case you can choose a maid or a ninja to take the photo with. Now, if you are in the Tokyo area, let's talk about Tokyo area. Everything's Tokyo, but specifically Tokyo Station area. There is the Imperial Palace Gardens to the west of the station, which is also really nice. You should visit there. But for a nerd, you're gonna want to go east and head on to the Pokemon Center. In my knowledge, there are 3 Pokemon centers, but this one, east of Tokyo Station, I think is the absolute best. There's one in the Skytree, Tokyo, and there's one in the Mega Center Mall. But I do think the one east of Tokyo is the best. It had the least amount of people, it wasn't as crowded, and plus it also has the Pokemon Cafe. And you can also get a reservation here, and I would recommend one because it goes up pretty quickly. The food is just lovingly crafted and it's really cute, and it's actually really pretty darn tasty too. And if you're waiting for the reservation, there is a shopping Pokemon Center area and slash arcade slash gacha area slash whatever. You can buy a bunch of Pokemon dolls and merchandise and whatnot. It's really awesome if you like Pokemon. Next up is Shibuya area. There's only one real place I wanted to talk about here, and that is the One Piece store. The One Piece Mugiwara store, the pirate store, the Straw Hat store. Straw Hat? Mugiwara is Straw Hat. One Piece is my absolute favorite anime. I've been watching it for years now, and I'm caught up in everything. And coming to this store where it's nothing but One Piece merchandise, and they're playing the main themes and the openings of the show as of right now, it got me so excited. I started feeling like a little kid at one point. Like I didn't know how to express my excitement. It was just so incredible. Just the music, all the items I could get. Like if I had a bigger budget, I probably would have spent hundreds in this store. But I settled on just getting a clear folder and the original manga. Next, Shinjuku area. If you love Square Enix, once again, there is the Square Enix Artnia Cafe. It is fantastic. It is very fancy, and it has some really nicely crafted drinks. But the thing that the kicker for me, not only is there more merchandise for Square Enix, but there is also a shrine, and it is a shrine to one of the many crystals. If you've played Final Fantasy, you know what the crystals are. They are the light of the earth, essentially. There's a shrine to the crystals and a bunch of very high quality, very expensive Square Enix merchandise. There's a bunch of Final Fantasy VII high quality figures. There's a bunch of jewelry related to Final Fantasy. It is so beautiful, and you should, if you love Final Fantasy, you should visit that place at least once. favorite experiences in Shinjuku, definitely the Monster Hunter Cafe. If you love Monster Hunter, this is a place you need to go to. It is, you also need a reservation for this place, but it is absolutely awesome. Going in, there's a bunch of replicas of some of the weapons in the game hanging on the walls, and the menu is ginormous. Like, I can't read Japanese, but there were so many different options. The only thing I could read was the well done steak and energy drink combo, which if you play Monster Hunter, that's a really cool reference. And it was actually pretty darn tasty too. They have a bunch of PlayStation 4s and TV set up so people can play Monster Hunter together. There are 4 TV set up, and there are some DSs and PSPs there as well, so you can play Monster Hunter across many different generations. It was really cool, and there was a sense of camaraderie too. I was playing and people were cheering me on as I hunted certain monsters. It was quite an experience. Make sure you get a reservation though. Next, we're gonna go way west to the Nakano area. I'm sure you've probably heard of Nakano Broadway, which it is just a pit, an abyss, where you will get lost and lose all your money to all these stores, and it's beautiful. There are so many stores that sell figures, collectibles, video games, outfits, accessories, everything nerd related, video game, anime, you name it. There's something here. Books, manga, it is overwhelming. I had to tell myself I can't stay in this place too long or I'm gonna spend all my money. It was, oh my god, like you gotta go there to understand. Everything you see is just, there's just something special about that place. And you will get lost in there for hours. Like, I'm usually pretty good about maneuvering and making my way out of certain places. I spent way more time in that place than I thought I should have. If you continue further west, there's a special place called the Studio Ghibli Museum. You also need tickets beforehand to enter this place, so make sure you figure out how to reserve those. But I didn't realize I needed tickets, so I kind of just saw it from the outside. I saw a few things, like you see Totoro at a fake ticket counter, and yeah, it's kind of sad to me because you can't buy tickets from them, but you know. And if you're hungry in the area, you should visit Harmonica Alley in Kichijoji. There's a really nice place in there that serves yakitori. Is that yakitori? Skewered meat. It's a really delicious place. You should check it out. While you're in Nakano area, you should definitely, if you're feeling a little snackish, go visit Mr. Donut. There's a bunch of Mr. Donuts around Japan, Tokyo area, but the donuts are not that bad.
Oh, donuts.
Now, Tokyo Skytree area. I wasn't gonna include Tokyo Skytree in this video, but when I was going to go there, I realized there were some special events going on that are actually super awesome for nerds. First, when I was on my way up to the Skytree, I found out that there was a Kirby cafe, and it blew my mind. I was not expecting to see that there. So I made a reservation to go to that place later on, but then I started to ascend the tower and I noticed there is a Kingdom Hearts Tower of Radiance and Shadow event going on at the very top of the tower. At the time of me recording this, I believe that one ends in late February, and the Kirby one ends in early March. So these are both limited events, and that's just another thing. Like, there are so many of these really cool, random, limited time events that seem to pop up in certain areas. And with Kingdom Hearts 3, like literally coming out the day that I'm recording this, like, it's just incredible. Like, I did not expect to climb that tower and find even more merchandise that I had to resist spending money on.
Supreme darkness!
You're wrong. I know now, without a doubt. Kingdom Hearts is...
And the last thing, I've covered different areas The last thing I want to talk about is the experiences that I went on. I decided to try something new and book experiences through Airbnb, and I got some really awesome experiences. The first one was in Asakusa, and I got to try on samurai armor, and it's pretty awesome. They have a studio and they have a bunch of different samurai armors set up, and you go in, they give you a kimono to wear, and they help you get into the armor, and it's really cool. You take a bunch of photos. They have in this studio, the whole room is just filled to the brim with cameras, and when they take, not only do they take all your photos from different angles, but they also make a video out of it, so you can see a rotating circle around you to see the entirety of the armor. It's pretty darn cool, and it was such a simple experience just wearing armor, but at the same time it felt really good, and the people I met were really nice in there. Next experience I had, I went on a photographer tour guide. I hired a tour guide essentially to take me to some very lovely scenic spots for photography, and a lot of the spots were really nice. They were just hidden gems throughout Tokyo that you would not find in most other places. It was very lovely. I was able to get some really nice photos and go to some really beautiful spots. My only real complaint was that it was a little bit too long, but I think the photos were worth it in the end. And the last thing I did was I took up sword training with a Kimbu master. I went to a dojo, a training studio, and it was just a one-on-one session since there was no one else for the appointed time. But I paid maybe around $100, and for about an hour and a half I trained using a sword and wearing traditional samurai formal clothing. And not only did she teach me how to draw and swing a sword and whatnot, but like proper performance techniques and presentations that samurais use when they have to put on a show. It was really nice, and I was actually able to impress some other Japanese people in the ninja cafe when I drew a sword the proper way and sheathed it. And so it was, though I'll probably never wield a sword again in my life, it was really, truly lovely experience, and I'm glad I did it. That's pretty much everything I did nerd related in Tokyo. There's a bunch of restaurants and stuff out there that you should try, of course, but that's the gist of my nerdy adventures there. And it's funny to think that I could have easily done more if I had more money or more time. Things like the Mori Lab or the Panasonic showroom, these are things that I wanted to do that I didn't even get around to. I just wanted to tell myself, like, I should treat this trip as if I'm never going to be able to go to Japan again, because I'm not sure when my next trip will be. And I really enjoy Japan, and I wanted to make the most out of this trip. So I just told myself, treat it like it is the last time I'm ever going to go, because as long as I do that and I make sure I do everything I can, I will have as least few regrets as possible, essentially. And sometimes I get a little scared when I'm traveling alone, because you're alone, and sometimes you might get it's perfectly reasonable. You might get lost, or something might happen if you're by yourself. But I push through that fear, because if I am able to do these things on my own, then I can do just about anything, right? I personally think that one of the scariest things you could possibly do is traveling to another country on your own and starting over, and that's what I've done here in Korea. I want to make more adventures in my life, and I want to experience more things. Like this, traveling is just a different feeling, and you can't quite get that feeling anywhere else but experiencing new cultures and traveling to different countries. Japan has everything I ever could have wanted in life, and it makes me sad that I have to leave it, but maybe if I work hard enough someday I can come back, and I hope anyone out there who wants to go to Japan can also go there too. And I hope this video is also a major help to you guys. That's all I have to show for you guys today, and I hope this video finds you well and that you are very enthused by this, or if it just gives you advice or tips that you need that can help you push forward to make this trip and come over here. I really wish the best for everyone in their travels, and I hope everyone can get to where they want to be someday. So until my next video, ciao guys.